Good afternoon. This is Akashvani and I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says diversity is a natural way of life for India. Addressing the joint session of US Congress in Washington DC, Prime Minister talks about several important issues including Indo Pacific, women empowerment, terrorism and environment protection. India and US identify around 25 areas of technology for partnership. Union Minister Smriti Irani says India-US mineral security partnership will accelerate critical energy supply chain. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to inaugurate and lay foundation stones for several development projects in Srinagar today. Leaders of 15 opposition parties meeting in Patna to strategize ahead of 2024 Lok Sabha Elections, and all 5 people aboard submersible Titan on an exploration dive to the wreckage of Titanic have died. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said diversity is a natural way of life for India. Mr. Modi said India is the home to all faiths in the world and it celebrates all of them. He said today the world wants to know more and more about India. The Prime Minister said this while addressing the joint session of US Congress in Washington DC.
We have over 2,500 political parties. Yes, you heard that right. 2,500. About 20 different parties govern various states of India. We have 22 official languages and thousands of dialects, and yet we speak in one voice. Every 100 miles our cuisine changes from dosa to aloo paratha and from Srikhand to sandesh. We enjoy all of this. We are home to all faiths in the world and we celebrate all of them.
In an hour-long speech, the Prime Minister touched upon several important issues of concern, including Indian-American diaspora, value of democracy, 75 years of India's independence, care for environment, Ukraine conflict, Indo Pacific security, and terrorism, among others. The Prime Minister said India-US partnership augurs well for the future of democracy. He said the US is the oldest and India is the largest democracy. He said democracy is a culture that gives wings to thought and expression. The Prime Minister said India is blessed to have democratic values since time immemorial.
Democracy is one of our sacred and shared values. It has evolved over a long time and taken various forms of systems. Throughout history, however, one thing has been clear. Democracy is the spirit that supports equality and dignity. Democracy is the idea that welcomes debate and discourse.
The Prime Minister said we must revive multilateralism and reform multilateral institutions with better resources and representation that applies to all our global institutions of governance, especially the UN. Mr. Modi said when the world has changed, our institutions too must change. Mr. Modi said in the past few years there have been many advances in AI, artificial intelligence, and at the same time there have been even more momentous developments in another AI, that is America and India. Mr. Modi said throughout the history, US has embraced people from around the world and there are millions in US who have roots in India. He said some of them see it proudly in the chamber of US Congress. The Prime Minister said last year India celebrated 75 years of its independence. He said every milestone is important, but this one was special. Mr. Modi said India is the home to all faiths in the world and we celebrate all of them.
In this century, when India sets benchmark in growth, it will inspire many other countries to do the same. Our vision is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. It means together for everyone's growth, with everyone's trust and everyone's effort. Let me share with you how this vision is translating into action with speed and scale.
Mr. Modi said when he first visited the US as Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world.
When I first visited the US as a Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world. Today, India is the 5th largest economy. And India will be the 3rd largest economy soon. We are not only growing bigger, but we are also growing faster. When India grows, the whole world grows.
The Prime Minister said this is not an era of war, but it is one of dialogue and diplomacy. He said we all must do what we can to stop the bloodshed and human suffering. Mr. Modi said more than 2 decades after 9/11 and more than a decade after 26/11 in Mumbai, radicalism and terrorism still remain a danger for the whole world.
More than 2 decades after 9/11 and more than a decade after 26/11 in Mumbai, radicalism and terrorism still remain a pressing danger for the whole world. These ideologies keep taking new identity and forms, but their intentions are the same. Terrorism is an enemy of humanity, and there can be no ifs and buts in dealing with it. We must overcome all such forces sponsoring and exporting terror.
Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Joe Biden held bilateral talks at the White House. Prime Minister's office PMO said they reviewed the entire spectrum of India-USA ties and discussed ways to further deepen the partnership. In a special briefing in Washington DC on Mr. Modi's US visit, Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra said technology cooperation featured very prominently in the discussions between US President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said India and US have identified around 25 areas of technology partnership in the joint statement as a direct result of the discussion between the two leaders. He said technology space also continues into defense, where the landmark announcement was done with signing of an MOU by GE with HAL for production of GE 414 Aero engine for India's light combat aircraft.
There are good 6-7 of them. So if you put them all together, you will find that very clearly technology, in particular advanced technology, across various domains, whether it's the defense domain, whether it is in the area of space or other domains, it has been one of the most important outcomes, substantive outcomes from the visit and from the discussions between the leaders.
The Foreign Secretary also said that the two countries have agreed that the US will start the process to open 2 new consulates in India, one in Ahmedabad and one in Bengaluru, while India will open its consulates in Seattle and 2 other places in the US. Later, US President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden hosted a state dinner in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House. Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani today said that India now has become the newest partner in the Mineral Security Partnership. She said that the partnership aims to accelerate development of diverse and sustainable critical energy mineral supply chain. Addressing media in New Delhi, Ms. Irani highlighted the outcomes from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States in various areas including defense, cooperation in strategic technology, and partnership in renewable energy and critical mineral cooperation.
Prime Minister's visit to the United States has resulted in significant outcomes in the areas of defense, cooperation with regards to strategic technology, a partnership in renewable energy, and also critical minerals cooperation. Many amongst you have reported the MOU on semiconductor supply chain and innovation partnership, which will promote not only research but commercial opportunities. Micron Technology Inc. will invest $825 million to build a new semiconductor assembly and test facility in India.
Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar today said that the India-US partnership on critical emerging technologies, including semiconductor, artificial intelligence, quantum and high-performance computers, will create at least 80,000 jobs. Talking to media in New Delhi, the minister informed that $2.8 billion Micron technology investment will alone create 5,000 direct jobs in the country. He also termed it as a signal to the youths of India and said that in the upcoming decades there will be several opportunities of working with American startups which can shape the technology sector.
5,000 direct jobs, 15,000 around the plant, including supply chain. And it's very important to know that this has a catalyst effect also on the supply chain around packaging units, including logistics and other supply chains, important components of that. So they have both talked about significant investments and expansion of presence in India. Applied Materials case, it is about an innovation center that they are talking about, which is serve as a catalyst for training and development of future semiconductor talent and at least create 500 new high-end engineering jobs.
American chipmaker Micron will invest $825 million to build chip assembly and testing facility in Gujarat. Electronics and IT Minister Ashwani Vaishnav said Micron's investment will fundamentally transform India's semiconductor landscape. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today said that Article 370 was a big impediment in the development of Jammu and Kashmir, and its abrogation has ensured full integration of J&K with the Union, an unprecedented development in the region, fulfilling the dream of Shyama Prasad Mukherjee and Pandit Premnath Dogra. Addressing a rally in Bhagwati Nagar area of Jammu today, after laying wreaths on the statue of BJP ideologue and Jan Sangh founder Shyama Prasad Mukherjee at Trikuta Nagar area, the Home Minister said that terrorist attacks have come down by 70% in the last 9 years of NDA government.
पत्थरबाजी की घटनाएं भी 90% कम हुई है। यही बताता है कि जम्मू कश्मीर में हालत ठीक हो रही। जम्मू कश्मीर के विकास के लिए इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी लेकर हम आए, वूल प्रोसेसिंग, हैंडीक्राफ्ट और हैंडलूम की पॉलिसी भी लेकर आए। 2021 में नई फिल्म के लिए भी पॉलिसी लाए, टूरिज्म के लिए होम स्टे और हाउस बोट की भी पॉलिसी बनी और ये सबका नतीजा है कि इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ रहा है। पर्यटकों की संख्या 2022 में 1,88,00,000 पर्यटक जम्मू और कश्मीर में आए।
Later in the day, the Home Minister will visit Srinagar and inaugurate and lay the foundation stones for several development projects. In Bihar, the meeting of 15 opposition political parties to chalk out strategy to counter BJP for 2024 Lok Sabha Elections is underway in Patna. The meeting began at the official residence of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar in Ann Marg in Patna. The leaders will discuss the modus operandi of floating the new alliance of the opposition parties, common minimum program of the proposed alliance, and other key issues related to 2024 Lok Sabha Elections. Bihar Deputy Chief Minister Tedesvi Prasad Yadav is representing the RJD. Chief Ministers like Mamata Banerjee, Hemant Soren, M.K. Stalin, Arvind Kejriwal and Bhagwant Mann are representing Trinamool Congress, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, DMK and Aam Aadmi Party at the gathering. Senior Congress leader Rahul Gandhi and his party president Mallikarjun Kharge are also present. JDU, RJD and Congress are at the core of convening this meeting as they are leading the Grand Alliance government in Bihar. Leaders of Samajwadi Party, NCP, PDP, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, National Conference, J&K, Shiv Sena, UBT are also present in the meeting. The US Coast Guard said that the missing submersible was destroyed in a catastrophic implosion during descent and all 5 abroad were killed. Meanwhile, a Wall Street Journal report published last night said that US Navy's underwater microphones heard suspected submersible explosion hours after it began its descent. They said that a robotic diving vehicle discovered a debris field from the submersible Titan on the seabed and identified 5 major fragments of the vessel. No mention was made of human remains. In Assam, there is no respite from the flood fury in the state as nearly 5 lakh populaces are affected. Nearly 63,000 children are said to be affected due to floods. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says diversity is a natural way of life for India. Addressing the joint session of US Congress in Washinton DC, Prime Minister talked about several important issues including Indo Pacific, women empowerment, terrorism and environment protection. India and US identify around 25 areas of technology for partnership. Union Minister Smriti Irani says India-US mineral security partnership will accelerate critical energy supply chain. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to inaugurate and lay foundation stones for several development projects in Srinagar today. Leaders of 15 opposition parties meeting in Patna to strategize ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha Elections. And with that, we end the midday news.